If you have been studying ICT or you have been following someone that trades ICT, you have probably heard about a breaker block. Now, last video we discussed the order block. If you haven't watched that one yet, go check that one out first before you come to this one. But if you did, or if you know what order blocks are, then the next step is the breaker block. So today you will not only be learning what a breaker block is, you will also be learning how to identify them and how to trade the right ones. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, right now we're on the charts, we're on Euro USD. It's very important for me to tell that you can do this on every time frame and on any pair that you want. So we can go into GU, AU, it doesn't really matter. I just chose EU because it's my bread and butter. So first of all, what is a breaker block? How can we identify a breaker block? If you remember from the last video, an order block was when it looked like this. Then this was your order block. Now, as I said, a breaker block is a failed order block. So what needs to happen for price to fail this order block? We need to make bullish momentum, come in this order block, trade surpass the order block and basically fail it. And that is when this block turns from order block to breaker block. And this is where we seek our entry to trade that continuation higher. So it is basically just a break downwards, then we have a break up, creating that market structure shift and that retest to go back higher. Break and retest model reformed into order block or a breaker block model. Now, how does it look like on the charts? Right here we are on the charts right now. So right here, for an example, you have an upwards move on Euro USD on the 4 hour. You have an order block down here. You have an order block down here. And then a relevant one right here. But this one, as you can see, it was failed immediately by price. And it turned into a breaker block. So again, you have to see it like this. When price moves upwards, it breaks that order block that is down here and it retests it. And this is basically the model that I've always been trading, even long before I know ICT. And I was just calling it previous highs and lows, but I was basically just trading breaker blocks. So then again, right here, we have an old order block. Does not really get respected by Euro. As you can see, we did have a small reaction out of it, but we did not have a big push at all out of it. So then price came down and went through it. As you can see, whenever price came back up to the zone, we rejected it very strongly. Then right here, we had an order block. As you can see, price breaks through it, retests it, and goes higher again. Then price turns around, so these all become order blocks. And in theory, guys, breaker blocks are a bit more rare to come around to or to find, as it only basically happens when you have that turnaround in price. You have that market structure shift. That is basically the only time that you are going to see them and basically find them purposeful. So right here again, price is in a downwards move, creates an order block. Price breaks through that order block, makes it into a breaker block, retested it, and goes higher. So then let's go into FX replay and let's search for some breaker blocks that we can use. By the way, if you really want to take trading to the next level and you really want to take yourself serious with this, you need to be backtesting. I don't care on what software, but you just need to be backtesting. I always tell this to my mentees, it's the only thing that we as traders have to get some reps in. And in my opinion, FX Replay is just the best tool out there that you can use for your backtesting. So if you're treating yourself for Christmas, I would say definitely check out FX Replay. There's a link in the description. Also be sure to use the code JORAFX for a cheeky 15% discount. So right now, price broke this order block right here. And it's turning it into a breaker block. As we were quite bearish, breaker block. So this will be our entry. Let's take our entry right here. Stops underneath the breaker block. Stop at a 1/2 position. So there's something like this. Let's place the order, 1% risk. Okay, as you can see, we didn't even come down to it. Most probably because I drew out my order block wrong. As it is more like this, most probably. But let's give this one the benefit of the doubt and just blame it on me. So then we are again going to wait for that market structure shift. And by the way, you can do this on every time frame, like I said, but I just like to do it on the 1 hour for educational purposes. So we could say we have an order block right here. It create momentum, it creates fair value gap, it broke the previous highs, so it's valid in our case. Then we are going to take our entry short from here, but we don't have a long space as we're only trading to these order blocks most probably. So the entry is going to be looking something like this. targeting this order block right here. It's a 1/1, so I wouldn't say it's worth it to take it. Let's see if it is going to play out. It did not in our case, but that's okay. We also had a lot more room to the downside, so that's cool. Very cool to see. Now we have an order block right here that could be turned into a breaker block if we break it. And we do. So when we broke it, there was an immediate reaction downwards, but I think it could still be a very valid point to take an entry right here. Let's put our stops underneath this low. Let's target at 1/2. And let's place the order. Okay, tapped in, and then it was very, very close to take profit. But there we go, there was our profit. So that was a very nice breaker block move. Now we're again waiting for that market structure shift. So we have an order block right here that could potentially be turning into a breaker block. Let's see. And it does. We break through it right here. And there was not a real reaction back upwards. Okay, let's go to the next one. There is an order block right here that we could take a trade from. Even more bearish. Then let's see. Let's take our position like this. Let's target at 1/2. Let's place the order at 1% risk. And this one was an L for us. Okay, now we're at that previous order block zone that we had, and we're just going higher from here. Now let me see if I missed something. We did. There was a fair value gap right here, and we had this big order block zone right here, down here, and this was a 61.8. Wow, my fib is messed up, but it was a 61.8 zone, as I can see. So there's a very important thing to always remember. Whatever you're doing, if you're taking fair value gaps, order blocks, or breaker blocks, always trade with the trend. So in this case, our trend is clearly bullish. And whenever I'm taking bearish positions on those order blocks, I need to be knowing where I'm going. And in this case, the most probable case that we were going to was right here. We had, by the way, a breaker block right here. What a crazy entry would that have been. Right, an hourly order block right here, and it was in the 61.8. So this is the perfect place to buy. So of course, don't trade against that. But now, let's us see. If we are going to break these order blocks right here, we can turn them into a breaker block and trade them higher. Okay, so that's what happens right now. Let's take our entry. Stops down there. And yes, guys, of course, my stop losses are sometimes quite big. But remember, I'm entering on the 1 hour. Like I said, you can do this on every single time frame. It doesn't really matter. Place the order. And we got stopped out. Let's see if it plays out in the end. Boy, there's a lot of consolidation going on. Going to these fair value gaps down here. And then, only then, we have momentum upwards. So let's see on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour again, we came to a very nice fair value gap down here. We had some momentum on this breaker block, but that wasn't L for us, unfortunately. This is the power, guys, of my strategy, and you're going to see this in the next episodes. Yes, I took an L up here. No big deal, right? This was a continuation play, and it was a very calculated move. But then, what is going to be my next entry, you guess? Is that fair value gap play. You guys have seen the fair value gap video. This is the next trade. And this trade makes up 5 of these losses that we took on maybe continuation trades like this. So you have to see it a bit like, if you have ever seen Thanos with the Infinity Stones, this is us, right? We are collecting the Infinity Stones in order to create a whole strategy around it. We have the fair value gap, we have the order block, and now we have the breaker block. So we've already learned 3 vital things of the strategy that we need for certain entries and certain continuation plays. Guys, I hope the breaker block is clear, and go backtest this extensively over a lot of time. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to show you all of these entry models and confluence points on FX Replay now, but I will make a separate video on backtesting, and we will backtest the whole strategy itself with all the confluences and entry models in it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, guys.